Imagine you are boarding a plane on a business trip from Zurich to Berlin. I am the pilot. I've studied every book on the subject and observed an experienced pilot for many times. But today, without ever so much as touching a steering wheel, I'm going to fly a real plane for the first time. Would you still board? No? Well, no problem. I can gain flying experience from a variety of simulators that augment the cockpit and prepare me for my first real flight.
Now imagine me, a surgeon performing a procedure on the heart of a patient. Sadly, where pilots get all the training necessary, I'm doing my first procedure on a real patient. And that's exactly what we want to change. We are Cardex and we want to develop a simulator for surgeons to train minimally invasive heart operations. That's my colleague Simon and my name is Simona. Cardiovascular disease are the most common cause of death in Switzerland. To put this in numbers, around 30% of the people die due to heart disease. Of course, there are many options to treat this disease, but many pose risks or long recovery times, like open heart surgeries. As catheter-based operations are minimally invasive, there's a global trend in this direction.
Now, to better understand the term catheter-based operations, let's have a look at the simplified picture of the human body. Our goal is to reach the heart. To achieve this, a catheter, as seen on the right here, is inserted at the groin or the leg and pushed up the venous system. Through this catheter, a variety of instruments can then be brought up to the heart to perform all sorts of tasks. Now, to further understand the underlying difficulties, let's have a closer look at the human heart, with the right atrium and ventricle and the left atrium and ventricle. Access to the right side can be easily established, as shown before, but direct access to the left side is complicated due to twists and hooks in the blood vessels. Therefore, one uses the Transseptal Puncture procedure to make a tunnel into the wall separating the atria. The wall is punctured at a particularly weak spot called the fossa ovalis.
To fully understand the operation, we observed surgeons at the operating theater, defined our user's need, and then started to build our first prototype in November. Today, we are proud to show you our final result, our simulator. After the welcome screen, you can start the simulator by only pressing one simple button. The first step is to achieve access to the veins at the groin. After having identified the correct spot, a hollow needle is inserted. Of course, we are not puncturing a real leg here. For our simulator, we developed a special PVA pad. Its 2 layers mimic the skin and tissue below.
Continuing the operation, now a guide wire is pushed through the hollow needle and advanced up the venous system. In our simulator, the venous system, as well as the heart, are replaced by a silicon model. We took real CT scans of a real patient's heart and further processed them to be used in our simulator. And because after molding the silicon still has a very high friction, it is specially treated so the guide wire does not get caught up.
Now, the hollow needle is removed and the catheter is pushed over the guide wire. As the surgeon doesn't have direct vision anymore, he activates X-ray with a foot pedal to confirm his position. Real X-ray, as it is used in the operating theater, emits radiation which is harmful for both the surgeon and the patient. We are proud to say that we have developed a solution that satisfactorily mimics the real X-ray. All this without ever exposing the learning surgeon to harmful radiation.
Once at the heart, the guide wire is removed and the transseptal needle is inserted in its place. Following is the most difficult and critical step in the procedure. The surgeon slowly pulls down the catheter. During this, he is constantly checking X-ray for 2 jumps the catheter makes. One when it falls into the atrium, and the second when it reaches the soft tissue of the fossa ovalis. Using ultrasound imaging, the surgeon looks for the so-called tenting, a bending of the fossa ovalis. Puncturing the correct location is of the utmost importance, because only small deflections could mean that the surgeon is puncturing outside the heart, or even worse, the aorta, which could have severe consequences or even be fatal for the patient. Therefore, we aim to incorporate this imaging technique as well. Real ultrasound imaging only works with fluids. Early on in this project, we decided against the use of fluids to eliminate the risk of spills and further improve the user experience. Therefore, we developed a 3D scanning system based on a stereo camera setup that constantly measures the deformation of the fossa ovalis and transforms this information into a classical ultrasound image.
After having identified the correct position, the transseptal needle is advanced and the membrane is punctured. Now, you may have realized that the fossa ovalis is destroyed in this process. This is why we developed a card and slot system with which the surgeon can replace the fossa ovalis in only a few seconds.
With finished puncture, the surgeon completes the session and is provided vital feedback on how well he fared. This way, he can objectively track his improvement as well as build confidence for the real operation.
Of course, at the end, the ones using the simulator aren't us, but the surgeons. So let's see what they're saying about our simulator. This picture shows Dr. Maurizio Taramasso. He's a senior physician in heart surgery at the University Hospital of Zurich. He and a group of other surgeons from the University Hospital tested our simulator several times and gave us constructive feedback. To put it in Dr. Taramasso's words, this is the only simulator in the world that combines live X-ray and ultrasound imaging with outstanding physical feedback. According to him and the other surgeons, this simulator has a lot of potential.
From now on, nobody has to do the transseptal puncture on the patient, first transseptal puncture on the patient anymore. From now on, they have Cardex. At this point, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors, as well as the PDZ Institute. Without their help, this project could have never been realized. And if you have any further questions, or would maybe like to try transseptal puncture on our simulator yourself, maybe you have a hidden talent as a cardiovascular surgeon after all, feel free to visit our exhibit in the CLA building right next to the EMO. We'll see you there. Thank you very much.